The 1970s, a time of economic turbulence, a time of change. Inflation surged throughout the decade, while the 1973 Arab oil embargo and the 1979 Iranian Revolution triggered energy crisis that sent fuel prices soaring. Average retail gasoline climbed from about 39 cents per gallon in 1973 to roughly 86 cents by 1979, a steep increase for operators who logged hundreds of miles daily. Despite these costs, the nation's appetite for freight only grew. Federal transportation data showed total freight movement rising from approximately 2.3 trillion ton miles in 1970 to almost 3 trillion by 1975. The roads, however, were dangerous. In 1975 alone, there were around 5,405 fatal crashes involving large trucks, causing about 1,395 truck occupant deaths and a fatality rate of roughly 6.01 per 100 million vehicle miles. Then there was a strict oversight from the Interstate Commerce Commission. So, what was it like to be a trucker in the 70s? Well, today we'll answer just that. Pre-dawn start, cold cab, and coffee. At 4:30 a.m. on a late 1970s autumn morning, a long-haul driver would climb down from a parked sleeper cab. The truck was home on wheels. Coffee mugs steamed beside the logbooks, while truckers calculated how many cents per mile they needed just to keep their rigs and households afloat. In the dim light before sunrise, the routine started. The hiss of air brakes, the clank of metal, pre-trip inspections. This was not by any means optional. Federal motor carrier data showed that in 1978, the United States recorded roughly 6,356 fatal crashes involving large trucks, climbing to about 6,702 in 1979. A period when overhaul highway mileage was far lower than today. Investigators frequently linked such accidents to mechanical failures, from worn brake linings to leaking air systems. Regulations require drivers to check tires, couplings, and lights before departure. A missed oil drip or loose wheel bearing on a cold morning could turn deadly. Well, with that taken care of, the trucking began. Onto the highway. First light of day found rigs across the nation, crossing the Appalachians, rolling through the Midwest, and climbing the Sierra Nevada. Drivers wrestled with heavy, non-synchronized gearboxes, double clutching through each ratio while their diesels drummed into a steady highway growl. Nationwide freight demand was climbing fast, with total truck ton miles rising from about 2.28 trillion in 1970 to nearly 2.99 trillion by 1975, forcing haulers to cover longer routes and tighter schedules. CB radios crackled coast to coast with talk of shifting truck length rules. Through the mid-1970s, states from Illinois to Nebraska to Oregon debated or adopted longer overhaul vehicle limits to match emerging federal standards. Those changes, coupled with rising fuel cost and the appeal of smoother rides, nudged many fleets toward long-nosed conventional tractors and away from compact cab-over-engine models. By mid-morning, long-haul rigs from coast to coast were eating up pavement. For independent haulers, every unexpected detour meant lost income. National average gasoline prices climbed from roughly 57 cents per gallon in 1975 to about 86 cents by 1979. A 30-mile reroute could wipe out a day's profit. Drivers relied on CB radio chatter from Pennsylvania to Texas to weigh the cost of alternate routes, swapping real-time updates on construction or accidents. They didn't have GPS or real-time traffic feeds at the time. The economics of every mile were as unforgiving as the endless stretches of interstate linking the country's freight hubs. Mid-morning break and quick maintenance. By late morning, a long-haul driver might roll into a highway rest area anywhere from the Colorado Plains to the Pennsylvania Hills, taking a brief 30-minute break that doubled as a maintenance stop. Through much in the 1970s, many operators quietly stretched well beyond the official hours of service limits because tight freight schedules and unpredictable traffic left little slack. Federal enforcement was comparatively lenient. The safety record bore it all. In 1978, the fatality rate for large trucks was about 6.01 deaths per 100 million vehicle miles, far higher than in subsequent decades. The pause was more than a chance to loosen stiff legs. Drivers routinely drained air tanks to prevent moisture from freezing, check brake temperatures, and tighten trailer straps. Heavy grades and hard turns, risks beyond the plains. By the late 1970s, the interstate highway system stretched about 47,000 miles, roughly half of the total mileage authorized under the 1956 Federal Aid Highway Act, and it posed as many hazards as opportunities for long-haul operators. Long climbs and abrupt descents taxed engines and brake systems, especially on aging tractors whose maintenance costs rose steadily with mileage. Federal motor carrier safety data records more than 6,300 fatal crashes involving large trucks in 1978. Steep grades in regions such as the Rockies and Appalachians consistently ranked among the most dangerous corridors, where overheated drums and brake failures were frequent, leading to runaway incidents. Even after clearing the mountain passes, risks lingered. At the same time, state-by-state weight and length limits demanded constant attention to axle loads, a challenge made sharper as many carriers transitioned from tight-turning cab-over engine rigs to longer conventional tractors. Refuel, repairs, and supper. As dust settled, drivers stopped for fuel, repairs, and a quick meal. Typical Class 8 tractor, the late 1970s, averaged only 5 to 6 miles per gallon, so a 600-mile haul could drain close to 100 gallons of diesel before the day was done. Fuel alone could consume 30 to 40% of an independent trucker's operating cost. Every extra minute of idling or unnecessary detour ate into profit. So drivers would top off both saddle tanks whenever they found a competitive price and keep engines off during meal breaks. Mechanical reliability was just as pressing. Brake and cooling system failures were among the leading causes of large truck crashes. Trucks often carried spare belts, hoses, and marker lights, and many used evening layovers to drain air tanks, tighten chains, and replace worn parts before sitting down for supper. These rituals were less about comfort than survival and economics. The idea was to ensure that the rig could make the next day's run without an unscheduled stop. The final push. The last 100 miles of a haul played out under a deepening night sky. Fatigue magnified every hazard. Accidents and collisions were disproportionately concentrated during dusk to dawn hours when alertness waned and oncoming headlights made distance hard to judge. Covering 500 to 700 miles in a single day was routine. A punishing range. Each added hour raised crash risk. However, economic pressure made those long nights unavoidable. Every unnecessary mile or minute of idling cut directly into profit. At the same time, the nation's freight appetite was surging. Total truck ton miles jumped from roughly 2.3 trillion in 1970 to nearly 3 trillion by 1975, then kept rising with the manufacturing and retail boom that preceded the 1980s. Consumer demand, just-in-time inventory practices, and the lingering effects of the 1973 Arab oil embargo all meant that shippers needed freight to be moved quickly, whatever the cost. For many, the work promised independence and steady pay, despite thin margins and grueling hours. The relentless economic engine explains why truckers endured long shifts, sparse sleep, and paper logbooks until deregulation and new technology began to reshape the industry. By the end of the decade, what it meant to be a trucker began changing, and for the better. Well, at least on paper. Well, what are your thoughts on the whole thing? Let us know in the comments below. Love trucks and want to learn more? We upload regularly. Subscribe to get on board.